Hi everyone, this is some YouTube Gamer here, and I'm back with another Destiny video. So today we're going to be talking about the weekly update that just came out today, and which talks about the weapon balancing coming to the Taken King. The reason why Bungie decided to do weapon balancing is because obviously they've heard the community. They know that a lot of players are complaining about Thorn, and they've actually provided us with statistics showing a chart from the previous Iron Banner showing that the vast majority of players going into Iron Banner had a Thorn. Well, first of all, I want to repeat that I don't know if you guys watched my last video on whether or not Thorn should be nerfed. If you haven't, I'm going to leave a link in the description below. But in that video I did say that charts like these are not really representative of whether a weapon is overpowered or not. It can certainly say that the weapon is good, but a lot of people tend to forget that Thorn is an exotic bounty, and we are fast approaching year 1 of Destiny, and by this point most players have already completed the bounty. So I'm not surprised that Thorn is the most used weapon in the Crucible, because Thorn is certainly a really good weapon, but it's the only weapon of that charge, of that probably out of the top 10 weapons used in the Crucible, is probably the only one that is a guaranteed drop. So if you want Thorn, you can easily get it. So yeah, I don't think it's really representative of whether or not a weapon is overpowered or not. But we're just gonna jump into the weapon balancing info. So I'm gonna start. I'm not gonna go through absolutely everything. I'm just gonna go through the ones that are important to the community and the ones that are important to me, and I'm gonna start from the positive to what I find positive to what I find negative. So out of all the changes, here is what I find positive. Auto rifles are being buffed. Someone say hallelujah, because this is an absolutely incredible change. I might finally be able to get my Suros regime back again. If you watch my previous video on whether Thorn should be nerfed, I did mention that Suros regime, it was my very first exotic as a late Destiny player, so that weapon has a lot of memory and a lot of emotions connected to it. So we have an increase base damage on auto rifle, but the damage falls off closer to the player to favor close to mid encounters, which is perfectly fine. That's how auto rifles should be used. There's a small reduction in base stability, so the weapon is not going to be as stable as they are now, which I think they did that to kind of increase the time to kill a little bit, so it takes a little bit more skill to be able to kill with an auto rifle. And for those that like to use this weapon archetype in PvE, you get a nice 10% damage boost in PvE, so that's great. The second thing I'm really excited about is the nerf on shotguns, because shotguns in the Crucible right now behave more like snipers, especially the high impact low rate of fire type of shotguns. And they've nerfed shotgun by reducing the accuracy buff of shot package by a whopping 30%. That is absolutely massive, and I'm really happy that they've decided to nerf shot package this drastically. They've also decided to that rangefinder now will only add 5% on base range stat instead of the earlier 20%, and also they decided to reduce the precision damage multiplier by 10%. This is absolutely freaking incredible. Maybe we'll finally see a lot less blink shotgunners, you know, and people finally starting to use their primary, because there's now nothing more annoying than being sniped by some Crucible noob that can't you know, that can't use his primary, just running around with a freaking shotgun, slide shotgunning or blink shotgunning. It's so annoying. I'm so glad they've actually decided to nerf shotguns. something else that's also super exciting is that Bungie is essentially going to nullify final round on snipers. How fucking great is that? They're gonna do this by making the bonus damage on final round only procs when you get a headshot, and headshots are already a one-hit kill anyway, so that's essentially nullifying final round on snipers, and I'm freaking happy about this, because there's nothing more annoying than going to Trials of Osiris and meeting a team of 3 people trying to find a round. It's just pathetic. Essentially. The fourth thing that I'm pretty glad that they've nerfed as well is grenades and horseshoe, because grenade and horseshoe is, I mean, if you in any game mode rather than 6v6, you have to use a rocket with grenade and horseshoe, because it's that good. That perk has single-handedly removed the skill required to properly use a rocket in PvP. So the fact that they are reducing the proximity detonation of grenade and horseshoes is a very good thing. Maybe we'll see a lot more heavy machine guns variety in the Crucible. Another thing that I consider quite good is the fact that they haven't drastically nerf Thorn. I know, like, the majority of you just want to see Thorn disappear from the Crucible entirely, but I think Bungie is actually trying to balance it out, because all they've done to Thorn is essentially reduce the damage over time by a third, just to make it a little bit less lethal. So from now on, I think it's going to be around 4.6, which is going to mark as 5 instead of 7. So it'll take probably one more shot to kill with Thorn, which slightly increases time to kill, and it doesn't make it feel like a, you know, like a double tap kind of weapon. So it's pretty good that they've nerfed it slightly without completely destroying it. So that's definitely a positive. Another thing that they've also done is to limit the amount of bullets that can stack on Hawkmoon. So from now on, Hawkmoon will no longer be able to one hit anyone, you know, because it's actually happened to me a couple of times when I'm in Crucible, and I just get hit once and just die from Hawkmoon. So it's extremely rare, but it does happen, and Bungie is making sure that this doesn't happen. They've also reduced the damage boost from Lock of the Chamber by 3%, and I suspect that is to try and make Hawkmoon a consistent 3 headshot kill, which again increased the time to kill, which I think is a good thing, because the current meta is more like instant kill kind of thing, where you die in less than 0.2 seconds, which is absolutely absurd. You know, you want to increase the skill gap, you want to reward skill play rather than just blind firing and killing someone in an instant. Now for the bad, and to me it's this one is a small one. They've decided to nerf wolf background on Gjallahorn, and in a way I understand why they've done that, because a lot of people in Destiny LFG websites tend to favor people that own a fully upgraded Gjallahorn, and with the new raid coming out in the Taken King, that pattern is probably gonna repeat itself, where a lot of players only want people that have Gjallahorn in their group to try and tackle the raid and all that. So I do understand why they decided to nerf Wolf's background, but I think it's kind of overlooking the lore behind Gjallahorn and the story behind Gjallahorn, and why Gjallahorn is such a powerful and coveted weapon. So I have kind of mixed feelings for that one. I think it's not good that they've done that, but I kind of understand why they have done it. And in the negative, one of the biggest one for me in this weekly update is the nerf on hand cannons. Now, believe it or not, hand cannons are actually underused in the Crucible. Yeah, you guys heard me right. Hand cannons are actually underused in the Crucible. What are overused in the Crucible are exotic hand cannons. So I don't think the entire class of hand cannon deserve the nerf just because Thorn and Last Word are overused in the Crucible. It's far easier to address Thorn and Last Word than to destroy an entire class, because as you will see in the changes, they've made some pretty extreme changes to hand cannon. First off, they started the damage fall off closer to the player to limit long range lethality, which is perfectly understandable. No one likes to be cross mapped in the Crucible. However, you have to remember that the PvP maps in the Crucible are a lot smaller than the PvE maps. If you actually take your Fatebringer and Vision of Confluence and you go into the Vault of Glass and try and use them, you will actually feel the difference in range between those two weapons. Hand cannons are able to kind of hit targets in a range that is considered too far by most players, because they forget that all the PvP maps are relatively small compared to the PvE arena. So I don't think hand cannons as a whole needed to be nerfed, especially their range, because they're going to make it ineffective in PvE. And the following change that they decided to make is to to drop the reduction in ADS accuracy, which in PvP will slow the time to kill. But I don't think hand cannons purples needed that, because most hand cannons in PvP are already slow. I mean, most purples are already slow fire rate. You know, weapons like Timur's Lash and I don't know, the Fulcrum or Fatebringer or whatever are quite slow to fire. So reducing the accuracy will increase the time to kill and make them less viable than weapons like pulse rifles or auto rifles. And they've also decided to reduce the magazine size across the board, which I find absolutely absurd, because a weapon like Timur's Lash has only got what, seven in the round in the chamber. So if they decide to reduce the magazine size across the board, and then you also have perks that reduce magazine size, what are you going to be left with? I mean, Last Word has only got 8 in the chamber, and it's already difficult to kill 2 people with the Last Word. Reducing magazine size across the board is insane, and it's going to make them less viable in PvE as well, because one drawback for hand cannons in PvE is the fact that they have less ammo than scout rifles or auto rifles. So, you know, reducing the magazine size across the board to nerf them for PvP will actually make them a lot less viable for PvE as well. And the third thing that I absolutely don't understand why they decided to do this is to change the freaking accurate the zoom level when aiming down the sight, to make the view wider rather than deeper. I absolutely do not understand the logic behind that. I mean, you can nerf the range, you can nerf the damage, but why completely change the way a weapon works? I mean, there are millions of players that are used to the zoom level. That means everyone is going to have to decide either to switch weapon type or to readjust to the new zoom level. And again, considering that PvE maps are a lot larger than PvP maps, that is going to greatly impact how you use hand cannons in PvE, and there's just no need. I think they should have just nerf Thorn and Last Word and leave hand cannons as they are, because hand cannons were never a problem. Exotic hand cannons were the problem, and it's easier to to address 2 weapons than to destroy an entire class. So I really don't understand the logic behind it, and I'm really hoping that between now and then they change their mind about nerfing hand cannons in that way. And then the last interesting change is the changes to the last word. Again, Bungie has confirmed what I've been saying in my last video on whether Thorn should be nerfed, because a lot of people are saying that Thorn is the most powerful weapon in the game, and I've been saying this time and time again that if you want to look at hand cannons, Thorn is not the most powerful, last word is. So they've decided to nerf last word, which is perfectly understandable, and the good thing that they've done about it is to reduce the is to fix the bug where you get bonus damage when aiming down the sight, which should only be propping only when you know, fire from the hip. So that is actually a good thing that they fixed that bug. That is actually balancing the last word rather than nerfing it. And something else that they've done is to increase the accuracy and precision damage for firing from the hip, so it's going to encourage people to try and use the last word the way it was intended. So that's another good thing. But now when it comes to the nerf, they reduced the range stat to 10 from 20, which again is perfectly understandable, because technically the last word has the lowest range of all the hand cannons in the game, yet you're able to cross map people with it. So reducing the range stat is actually balancing the game, and probably be more representative of what the last word is. And the last thing that they've done is to change and reduce the stability to 20 from 30, which again will make people fire the weapons slowly, and which is going to increase the time to kill and require a bit more skills to use. But the reason why I think it's a bad thing is because the last word, in conjunction with the changes to hand cannons in general, can potentially make the last word as useless as Suro's regime is right now. Because if you think about it, hand cannons are already have a range change, and then you have a further range change on the last word. You've also got damage drop off a lot earlier, and then you have a change in accuracy and zoom. With hand cannons you have a reduction in magazine size, and you've got only 8 in the chamber with the last word. So if you combine the changes in hand cannons in general and the changes in the last word, I really fear that the last word is going to become as useless as Suro's regime is right now. So I really hope that between now and the Taken King, that Bungie really changed their mind about changing hand cannons as an archetype, but just make the changes on Thorn and last word, because those are the weapons that need an attention, not the entire class of hand cannons. But anyway, that's it for today's video, guys. I want to know your opinion. What do you guys think about these changes? Are you guys satisfied with the changes to Thorn? Did you expect a bigger nerf to Thorn or the last word? Are there things that Bungie has missed that you would have liked to see? Personally, I would have loved them to nerf fusion grenade, all those sticky grenades, because the aim assist on them, in my humble opinion, is far too high. It's far too easy to hit anyone with a sticky grenade and just kill them and end their streak. So but then again, sticky grenades are not technically a weapon, and this is a weapon balancing video. So but yeah, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about these changes. If you like this video, make sure to slap that like button, subscribe, and thank you guys for watching.
Heavy ammo available.
Oh yeah, they're outside.
Heavy ammo available.
Good job, Demigod. Golden gun, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up.